Hey, party people, welcome to Nicole Reacts, a show in which I, Nicole, react to online marketing gurus that I find on the internet. My qualifications for snark and commentary are that I've owned a marketing company for 15 years. In that time, I've worked with hundreds of clients on marketing strategy and implementation. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to marketing, and I've marketed more stuff than just my stuff. Very important when you're teaching people how to do something. On this channel, there's a variety of content, but this particular series, Nicole Reacts, is where I react to people who position themselves as marketing gurus on the internet. This ranges from MLM trainers to business people who suddenly think they know a lot about marketing, to people who are marketers who've written marketing books, and a lot in between. I think it's important for me to react to a lot of different people to show that there are patterns in a lot of these things. This also means I don't necessarily have a ton of subscribers because this isn't just a commentary channel. This isn't just an anti-MLM channel. I am a small business that produces content, and part of the content I think is interesting is talking about these people. So stick around if you like that sort of thing. Today's nomination actually comes via the contact form of our website. Now, you can clearly leave a comment on this video and I'm going to see it, but if you want to nominate someone for this series or give me some context, you can use the contact form at breakingeveninc.com. And that's what Felicia did with the person that we're featuring today. So, the person we're featuring today, her name is Sunny Lenarduzzi. We'll make sure I pronounce her name correctly. Hopefully, she'll say it when she starts. And her program is called the Authority Accelerator. And what I think is interesting is if we look at the latest video uploads on that YouTube channel, the Authority Accelerator YouTube channel, it seems like a bunch of random people. I'm scrolling back 2 years, and it seems like a majority of content on this channel is people's testimonials for the program. I don't know. I understand the importance of testimonials, but it's a bit of a red flag to me when you're not producing any new content yourself. But what we're going to do today is we're going to look at Sunny's landing page where she gets people to sign up for her free webinar. We're going to count if we see some red flags, we're going to acknowledge them and kind of see what she's about. Looking at Sunny and looking at this channel, I think it's interesting that it reflects something that I'm seeing across multiple gurus that I want to react to coming up here. Her content is pivoting into one of two categories. Sometimes they do both. It's either going in the sort of mindset, general business advice, which I can comment on, but I don't think is necessarily particularly interesting. And the second kind of content I see them do is interview style content where they're interviewing somebody in their program or who is in their downline or something like that. And I think the reason that they do that is they don't necessarily have a lot of new information to impart in a marketing training. So what they do is they say, okay, we're going to look at this person as kind of a case study. And usually these interviews are a lot of fluff, and usually the person that they're interviewing has some kind of relationship to them where it isn't like a journalist interviewing an author or something like that. It is very much a conversation among friends. And that could be garbage. But I think it's interesting that this person has clearly an online course, but there is no examples of a module. There's no her teaching something, showing what her teaching style is. Instead, if you are thinking of signing up for the course, you have to take the word of people who are in the course, right? So I've traditionally stayed away from this kind of content because it's not informative, but the reality is all the gurus are shifting to it. And I'm hoping that there'll be some breadcrumbs in this interview that we can comment on as it relates to marketing. I'm not a business consultant. I can talk in general about what it's been like to run my business, or, when I talk to other business owners, whether they're clients or friends, I can talk about their experiences, but I'm not like a business expert. These people aren't either, to be fair, but I'm just admitting that I'm not. So let's take a look at the landing page and then we'll watch one of the interview style videos. One that I'm going to pick by title seems the most about marketing, but here's hoping that I pick well. All right, actually, before I show you her page, can I just show you the sheer volume of testimonial content she has on this YouTube channel? If you don't like scrolling, close your eyes until you hear my voice again. But I'm going to scroll and just show you the content. So she uploaded like 3 or 4 interviews a year ago, and the rest of this has been testimonials. All right, let's go to the landing page now, but I just had to show that to you. Here is Sunny Lenarduzzi's page. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. Listen, my name is difficult to pronounce. In case you're wondering how I pronounce my last name, it's Wallet. Whenever I do an open mic night or something, I write my name and then I put in parentheses pronounced with this pronunciation. It's like wallet with a cheesy French accent. Stick it up and give me your wallet, and nobody gets hurt. So that's how you pronounce my last name, Wallet. There you go. So, 4 simple steps to turn your existing skill set into a six-figure business. Okay, six-figure business, usually they say 7 figures, but there is an income claim already. Create, sell, and scale your own online course completely from scratch using knowledge you already have. And then right away, we're supposed to give our email address, first name, and phone number. No thanks. All right, let's see what this isn't versus what it is. Trading your time for money. Okay, there is little ding number 2, sort of time and money freedom, right? We're not going to be feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. We're not going to be spending money on ads, and we're not going to see inconsistent return. Okay, I don't know how you can promise what returns we're going to see, but okay. We're going to instead set ourselves up as an authority in your space, bring in consistent money without working more, creating a legacy, ding, 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 and change your life trajectory. So there's the third ding, which is that we're implying legacy, changing your family's life, blah, blah, blah. And then join a community of support and membership. Community. Okay, number 4. All right. So we have an income claim. We have time, money, freedom. We have an implication of a legacy, and we have the implication of a community. I see you. You're passionate about what you do, trying to make a bigger impact, ding, 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 with your business, but struggling to figure out how to break into the online space. Online education is booming like never before. So, why is it such a struggle to get traction? Maybe you're not even sure where to start. What if I told you it's totally possible to grow a highly scalable, okay, ding, 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 scalable, profitable, ding, 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 six-figure business? We already counted that one. If you do it the right way, implying that there is one right way to do something, and that if you do these simple things the right way, you're going to have success. That is ding number 8. You don't have to spend a dime on paid ads, compromise your business, or increase your workload. I don't know how you're going to get traffic to your website without paying for ads initially, but okay. It has worked for thousands and it can work for you. Start with my free training. So there she is in her studio with her broadcast microphone. More about me. Number 9, a picture with Oprah. I'm Sunny Lenarduzzi, and believe me, I've been there. I felt the struggle. Okay, so then now we're hearing, okay, ding, ding, ding. Now we're hearing her story, her struggle. She was experiencing burnout and she was working long hours. Now she owns a 8-figure business, ding, 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 who has built my business organically from the ground up. I've helped over 3,000 individuals build, launch, and scale their own profitable online businesses, and I want to teach you how to do the same. Blah, blah, blah. So, more of that. We have the authority of having been seen in these various publications like Forbes, Hootsuite, Fast Company, Entrepreneur, Inc., Huffington Post. I don't know what some of these things are, but okay. Then we have a bunch of testimonials with some income claims in them and some other claims in them, but I see a lot of dollar bills, and I see numbers like $16,500, $100,000. And we have the privacy policy, earning disclaimer, and contact us. I'm reading the earning disclaimer right now. The information contained in this website is for general information purposes only. The information provided by Sunny D Entertainment, cute. And while we endeavor to keep the information up to date, we make no representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the website or information, products, services, or related graphics contained on the website for any purpose. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. Blah, 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 blah. In short, I'm going to make all these claims and then I'm going to shove this link on the bottom of my website saying that if you believe those claims, that's on you. Awesome. She's trained 3,000 people. I'm curious. Let me just do some quick math of how many testimonials are on YouTube, just out of curiosity. I counted the testimonials on YouTube. There's 263 testimonials on YouTube. So dividing that number by 3,000, we get 8.77% have left testimonials. Interesting. Imagine that you're going to a restaurant and only 8.77% of people who went to the restaurant have something good to say about it. Or if you're thinking it from the flip side, imagine that you're considering taking a college class and 8.77% of the students said it was a good class to take. Either way, it looks like a lot of testimonials, but when you consider it compared to the amount of people that go through the program, not super impressive. The video we're going to watch today is she quit launching and made $50,000 in 30 days with her online course. It's quite the claim. Let's see. All right, so she's well lit. The microphone is literally the size of her head, and it looks like based on how her name is written that she's recording this in StreamYard. So, let's see.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I'm so happy to have you here. If you are tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. My name is Lenarduzzi. If we haven't met before, it is
Lenarduzzi. I can remember that.
lovely to meet you. And I'm so excited to learn what you want to get out of today's live. Hi, Kayla. Kayla and Connor from my team are here, and they're going to be helping out in the comments for anybody who's interested in being part of our Authority Accelerator program and being on the inside with Felicia and I. So I am talking.
So I appreciate that she's having a live stream and she has some moderators who are going to help with the comments so that when she interviews the guest, she can actually pay full attention to the guest. Also, of course, they're in chat so they can upsell the accelerator program. But I wish more people would do this.
I'm talking to hi Jacob from Denmark. Hi Robert from Wisconsin.
We can't see them. If you want to put them on the screen, fine. But
and thank you so much for tuning in and for being here live. Kudos to all of you for taking the time out of your day to be here. It's going to be jam-packed. We got lots to go over today and lots of things that you can start implementing into your business. So I'm really, really excited to share that.
Okay, so we're going to learn some tactical stuff today. That's her promise here, is that we can implement some of these things into our businesses. So I'm curious to see how much of it we actually can.
With you. We have Derek from the Authority Accelerator is here. Hello. We have lots of our Authority Accelerator members here showing love to Felicia, who I'm going to be speaking to in just a second. Hi, Nicole. Nicole from my team. Hi, Cece from Arizona. Mikey Wilson.
I thought she could see me.
From Toronto. Karen is here. Hello, everyone. And Afki from Dallas. All right.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Great.
So I'm so excited today because we are going to be talking to one of our superstar clients, Felicia Streeter, who is a part of our Authority Accelerator program. I wanted to give you a little bit of background. And if you are here tuning in, hi, Brittany, be sure to give this a like and be sure to share it out so that we can reach more people with this live today. And a little bit of background on Felicia. She's incredible and quite the spitfire. So I'm excited to talk to her today. And she is a government contracting consultant with 20 plus years of experience. And she specializes in helping small and minority business owners start and grow government contracting businesses. So pretty specific niche for sure. And she was looking for a step-by-step system to take her business from constant launch cycles and kind of hitting plateaus to going evergreen so that she could get consistent revenue month over month.
So to me, being an entrepreneur is, you know, that feeling when you were a kid and you had homework that was due on Monday morning and it was like Sunday night and you hadn't quite finished it yet and you had to go to bed, and that feeling in the pit of your stomach, like that you were sort of like nervous and there was a little bit of adrenaline in there because you're like, okay, I'm going to wake up early and finish this. To me, being an entrepreneur is like the ability to live with that feeling of like that you haven't gotten everything done or that not everything is going perfectly and being okay with that. So I don't know how she can promise consistent money. That seems far-fetched.
So before I bring Felicia on, here are just a few of the things that have happened for her in her business since she joined the Authority Accelerator program back in March. She actually generated $50,000 in 30 days when she first enrolled in our program and leveraged our pop launch strategy. And now her business is evergreen. She's crossed six figures with her online course and shifted away completely from doing live launches and from working one-on-one with clients. And she books consistent sales calls every month and is generating consistent revenue. We're going to talk about that.
If she's not working one-on-one with clients, how is she doing sales calls? Isn't that a one-on-one call?
And how she's been able to do that. And her YouTube channel has grown to 13,427 subscribers in less than 7 months. So I am so pumped to bring Felicia on.
I just want to point out that Felicia's the one who did all this. I'm not saying she didn't learn stuff from the program, but I'm saying that The way that it's phrased is like, since joining this program, Felicia was able to, but it's Felicia that did all the work here, okay? Like, she joined the program and then she did all this work and saw this success. So, we can give some credit maybe to the program, but we got to give most of the credit to Felicia who actually did the work.
Um, Thanks everyone for saying hello. Karen, I can see in the comments. I can't actually see your face. Don't worry. You can only see Felicia and I. Um, Keith, greetings from Alabama. Julie from Massachusetts.
We get it. A lot of people are watching your thing live.
Awesome. So many people here. Rich from UK. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. All right. Without further ado, let's bring on Felicia. Hi, Felicia. How are you? Oh, I can't.
She's muted. So in case you're listening and not watching, there's two of them kind of each on half the screen. And in the background, there is this client case study, Felicia Streeter, and a lot of text. And it's kind of concentrated toward the top of the screen. And what I don't understand is why she didn't move. If she was going to use a frame like this, why didn't she move some of the text below where her and Felicia were going to be? So that she could have made the writing either a little bit bigger or it could have looked less crowded.
Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. I'm just going to go ahead and unmute you. Oh, you have to unmute your own mic. There we go. Let's do that first.
There we go. Hi. Hear me?
We can hear you super
Awesome.
well. Thank you so
Good,
much
good.
for being here. We really, really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to dive into your story.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And Felicia is in Texas, so there's some fellow Texas people here
Yep.
as well. So hello to all of you.
Yep.
All right, let's get into it, Felicia. Let's start with let's give a little bit of background. What brought you to the Authority Accelerator program?
So for me, I was looking at really just getting more consistent.
Okay, so when you're interviewing somebody, you have a choice to make. One is that you and them can stay on the screen together. The other is that you can be on the screen to ask a question and then you can take yourself off the screen and make them full screen. I don't know why Sunny isn't choosing to make Felicia full screen because she's going to clearly give like a longer answer and it would be nice to kind of see her fully as she gives that answer. But that's just my opinion.
Consistent with the cash flow because yes, the launch was working, but it's like you have a start and an end date of the money coming in. And so even though you may have payments still, but you don't have new money coming in every month
Mhm.
consistently. So that was one of the things. And then two, um, having to do the same thing over and over, like you're telling people the same thing over and over. Um, and it's like, okay, there has to be a better way. Plus, there's only so many hours in a day, which means if you're doing one-on-one, you can only take on so many clients at a time, which also caps your cash flow. So
I mean, another option is you could just hire somebody. And, as you get busy, right? If you are working the kind of max amount of time you can work, if you hired someone to help you out, they could take on some of your tasks and that would free up your time to do more of the work. That's another way to look at it, but okay.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I know that when you joined us in the program, you were at a place where you're like, I know I need to make a change. What was your sort of like tipping point when you were like, I'm ready to do this? I'm ready to shift my business model.
For me, it was like one of the things was a small business. So I don't have like hundreds of thousands of people following me, first of all. So
Mhm.
when we do the numbers, which you always talk.
Yeah, you don't need infinite customers, especially if you have repeat customers. I think I've said this before, but I think in our QuickBooks we have like 400 people, and that's enough to pay 3 of us full-time and 1 of us part-time. So, yeah, you don't need thousands or hundreds of thousands of people to have
Always talk about the
a
numbers, and
business
I wasn't
that follow
tracking
you
them
on social
before,
media.
but I do now. But I did know, like, if I don't have hundreds of thousands of people following me, it's hard to do a launch and say, okay, we're going to do it for this period of time, then shut it down because you can't get the numbers that way. It just didn't work. And so for me, I knew I needed something where I could have a continuous flow of cash flow, but also have like that open enrollment where people can sign up at any time.
So people like Brendan Burchard have popularized this idea of like launching. And what a launch does is it just creates false urgency, right? So you're launching the product and the product is at an introductory rate for only a certain period of time or oh, we're only accepting people in this course for 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to sign up. So I think all a launch does is give you a set period of time to do intense marketing and to create a false sense of urgency for your clients. And like she says, if you don't have hundreds of thousands of people looking at something, And if you look at different online data about conversion rates, depends the industry and all that, but around 1 to 3% is really typical. So if you think about sending 100 people to a page, that one of them is going to fill out the form and convert. So if you only have 500 people on your Facebook and you're trying to run this like a launch, right? And if for some reason you got all 500 people to go to the website, you might get 5 customers from it. You might even get less because some pages don't convert as well as 1%. That's just an average conversion rate. So, like she says, if you have a small audience, like the launch model doesn't really work.
Absolutely. Create real consistency. I think that's the thing, right? Is there, so if you aren't familiar, and you can let us know in the comments, if you aren't familiar with what a launch model is, it is essentially you create urgency around opening your business for a short period of time and then you close it down. So you have a short window to be able to bring in revenue and sales. And it's a model that can create a lot of stress as a business owner and entrepreneur because I saw your eye roll there. Because you don't know what the results are going to be all the time.
You never know what the results are going to be, but if you only have 2 weeks to produce them, that does add some stress, doesn't it?
You don't know how many sales you're going to really be able to bring in. And then once it's done, it's done. And you have to wait a significant amount of time before you do another launch. And it can work sometimes if you have this really big, massive audience.
Or a really general product to sell, like something that pretty much everybody would buy.
But if you have a smaller audience, as you mentioned, it's really tough to get the numbers in that you need to make your business truly run. Am I correct on saying all of that?
Yes, and it's a lot of work. You forgot that part.
It's a lot of work. It is
You have to do a lot of marketing in a short period of time. So, preparing for it and then actually executing it is a lot of work.
a lot of work. So Felicia and I were talking right before we got on here, and Felicia was saying, you have a new boyfriend, new-ish, and he was saying that, was it him or you that said, I don't have to work all the time or something like that? I
No,
love that story.
I don't, but he does. He's like, I don't get to walk around my house all day and just do anything and this and that. And I'm like, but I do work. I swear I work. I promise you I do.
I don't know. If you're dating someone who doesn't think you do anything all day, I'm not sure if that's the right person for you, but
And
We're
but my thing
yeah.
is, I always say it doesn't take all day in our industry and what we do. And then with this being evergreen, it doesn't take all day to make money. Like because I'm not shutting down the system at any given time. It's always running. And like you said, with things being evergreen, so it's always running, whether I'm there or not. I make money when I'm sleeping. I make money most of the time, and it's funny. I make a lot of money when I'm like not working. So I don't know, whatever. Like when I'm out.
but is it that you're not working or is that you've front loaded the work? You've recorded and edited and published an online course. You did all that work ahead of time. And so yeah, like you're going to get sales when you're at the grocery store or when you're, on the weekend when you're laying around or whatever, right? But you did all the work ahead of time. You front loaded the work. It just when you get paid is what's different.
Out hanging out or just out like yeah, it's crazy like because you get the notifications,
Yep.
we like to get those, so yeah.
I mean, nothing better than a little email saying, "You've made X amount of dollars," or "You've just
Exactly.
received a payment of X amount of dollars." I
Yeah.
mean, same thing. I was on vacation 2 weeks ago and I'm on the beach and I'm like, "Well, would you look at that?" So, it
Yeah, sometimes I'm on vacation and I see like, oh, this person paid their QuickBooks invoice. And I'm like, cool. You know, I made money while I was lying on the beach, but like I did the work and I billed it out. They just paid me while I was lying on the
and it
beach.
does get glamorized and glorified, but it's doable, and
It
you're
is.
living proof of that. And I think what's so cool to see with your journey is that it obviously didn't start that way, and you were
Right.
working really, really hard. You're trading your time for money. You were doing one-on-one work, and you were doing
I know why these people disparage people like me who work one on one with clients. And I know it's because that, you know, it's not quote unquote scalable, right? But the thing is, a lot of people need one on one help with stuff. They just do. And they're not going to do well shoved in a program that is built a certain way. It might not work for them. They might have different circumstances. They might be working with different resources. They might be reaching different customers. And this Authority Accelerator program is a program, and you see that a couple hundred people said nice things about it of the 3,000 people that took it. So even everybody in this program, that program didn't work for them. They would need more one-on-one help. They would need more individual guidance. They would need more specific advice. They would need someone to look over their stuff and make specific recommendations. I don't know why we disparage working one-on-one with people. It's perfectly valid, and for a lot of businesses, they actually need that, which means that they'll pay for it.
You were doing these launches. And
Yes.
so I guess for people who are kind of new to this and unfamiliar with it, what would you say were the biggest pain points for you when you were in that position in your business? Like what was the most frustrating aspect of the launches, the one-on-one, all of that stuff?
One-on-one was that, and this is funny, but what I realized too, people get a better transformation when they're in that group setting for some reason. I don't know why. But the one-on-one, it was like they weren't as committed either. I don't know what it was, but they just didn't. I don't know. I can't put a finger on it. All I know is my group people get better results than the one-on-one did. And I don't know if I don't know. I don't know what that
I
was about.
will
I don't
yeah,
know.
I can add to that, and I will echo that wholeheartedly, and I know there are people here who are running one-on-one businesses or done for you businesses because you were also doing this as a service before, right?
Yes.
So you were doing it
Yes.
for people? Yeah.
Mhm. And it worked as
So
long as I did it. Yep.
it worked as long as you did it, yeah, and
Mhm.
so I
Yep.
can relate to that so much,
Yeah, imagine that, like, you make income as long as you work. Like, yeah.
and if you run a done for you service or you're doing one-on-one work, feel free to let us know in the comments. When I first started my business, that was what I fell into as well, and I was doing, social media management, and I was actually running campaigns and running accounts for my clients,
Hey, that's what I do.
and then I also was doing one-on-one consulting as well, and
Me too.
I can tell you from my experience in this, the results that we now have in the Authority Accelerator program, which is an online program, are far and above anything that ever happened in my one on one or in my done for you. And the reason is
I'll hold my thought until she finishes.
this, it's exactly what you just said. It works as long as you are doing
Do
the
the
work.
work. Yep.
So it's a job. It's not a business, it's a job.
I was gonna say, if she's a social media manager and her clients doing their own social media gets better results than her doing it for them, I would say she wasn't in the right line of work. I would like to say, as somebody who has over a decade of experience doing this kind of work, that I am better at social media than my client is. At least I should be. If they are paying me market rate, they should be getting results that are beyond what they could get for themselves. Do you know what I mean? So if she's saying like, "Oh, I'm seeing similar results by doing a group social media training." I don't know, maybe you're just not that good at social media.
Mhm.
And also, when people are hiring you one on one, they're hiring you one on one because there's a certain level of expectation that you're going to solve their problem instead of them going,
Yeah.
okay, I now have the blueprint. I now,
Yeah. Imagine that. People you pay someone to solve your problem. You bring your shirt to the dry cleaner to get the stain out. You enroll your kid in an after school program so that they're busy after school while you finish your work day. Imagine that someone pays for a solution to a problem. Isn't that how all business is set
I
up?
now have what I need. It's been handed to me. It's up to me to do the work. So the level
Mhm.
of accountability
So the reason that you're not successful is because you didn't work hard enough. Why are we disparaging people for like hiring out what they're bad at? I bet you $100 this person either has a housekeeper or has someone who does some kind of maintenance around their house that they don't do themselves because they don't want to do it. So maybe somebody just doesn't want to do their own marketing. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe it makes them feel awkward. Maybe they're not good at with computers. Maybe they don't have any kind of graphic design background. There's, like, a lot of reasons why someone wouldn't wanna do their own marketing. So, like, I love how we're gonna shame people for not wanting to do that themselves, and yet we're not gonna shame people for hiring a plumber or hiring someone to mow their lawn, you know?
accountability is sky high when it's done in this format. When you create an online program, taking all the things that you repeat over and over and over again, and all the strategies you repeat over and over again, and putting them into an online program that people can then take and implement for themselves, which also creates a legacy business as it allows your income and your impact to be detached from the amount of time you're putting into it, which is why you're able to make money while you sleep and all that stuff. So it's great.
What I'm wondering is how is this person finding clients without running ads? That's what I'm wondering. How are they getting in front of new people? Because tools like email or text, marketing, things like social media, these are great for reaching people who already follow you. But how are you getting new people in the pipeline if you're not running ads? I'm really curious about this. I wonder if they're going to address it.
It's great. We love to hear that. And I wanted to let you know, so if you are just tuning in, we have an amazing amount of people here right now. So thank you so much for being here. Close to
Also, like, when you're interviewing with someone, like, she should be letting Felicia talk more. She should be drawing more information out of Felicia.
100 people awesome
Oh, cool.
tuning in live, which is great. So, if you're just tuning in, Felicia is a member of our Authority Accelerator program, and she came into the program because she was doing done for you service.
So what Sunny's doing here is a tactic that you do during live streams called resetting the room. As people join the stream, what you want to do is periodically summarize what's going on. That way, if they're jumping in, they can sort of know the context of what's going on. Sometimes people do this every, few minutes, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. Or if they see a spike in numbers coming into the room, they'll do a little, hey, if you're just joining us, my name's Nicole. I'm here with blah, blah, blah. And we're talking about this. And then they'll continue on the conversation.
Services, and she was working one-on-one with clients, and she was doing launches in order to grow her business, and she was feeling stuck and frustrated by that model, so she wanted to turn her business completely evergreen, which she's been able to do. And if you are interested in the Authority Accelerator program, I'm going to keep this link up on the screen. You can go here to apply, and Connor and Kayla from my team are here, and if you drop the word apply into the comments, they will reach out to you via Facebook Messenger to chat with you and see if this is a fit, and help you kind of work through the decision. So just wanted to mention that as well. Okay, so let's tackle why this niche for you, because
I think it's always interesting when you have to apply to be part of a high ticket program. I wonder how many people they actually turn down, to be
find this
honest with
part
you.
interesting, and I do find people get really stuck on what direction to go in their business, what niche they should pick, all of these things. Where is this niche coming from for you?
She had a whole business doing it before and she just made an online course around it.
So for me, it was well, okay, so in my previous marriage, it was like we had two mixture. I had the business sense, he had the construction sense.
Okay.
And so when he got out the military, there was a company he worked for and they introduced government contracting to us. It's amazing that a lot of people don't understand or even know about government contracting, and we didn't either until someone told us about it. But with that, so our business is successful. We're doing construction, doing multi-million dollar contracts every year. And the SBA and the Women's Business Council, the people over those two were like, "Why don't you start another business?" And I was like, "Doing what? I'm busy over here doing construction stuff, very busy." And they were like teaching people what you did to grow that business. So in turn, I then created the business that I have today, which I really love teaching and training anyway. And so that's what got me into doing this. But I still resisted and was still doing that. And then I think I did a video one time on YouTube, y'all. And like it's really, really old. But people started finding it over time and they would ask me to help them with government contracting. And so really that's the transition that got me to really doing this full time, is that people just asked for it.
I love it. I love it.
So, in case that you're in the US and you think that your business might be interested in doing some government contracting, I want to share a couple of resources with you. Full disclosure, I don't know a lot about this, but I thought I'd at least point you to the resources that I've been pointed to over the years. So, the first thing is there exists something called PTAC. It's an acronym that stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. And I'll include this link for this website in the show notes. You can search for your local office. The reason I even know this existed is I met somebody who was in charge of our regional PTAC office, which is about an hour away from me in Plattsburgh, New York. For example, if you want to see what PTAC is in your state and you're in the state of Maine, you'll see that there is a Maine PTAC office in Bangor, and there are also some regional offices as well and some contact people there. If you wanna work with someone like Felicia, that's fine, but if you're just kind of not sure about if government contracting is right for you or what some of the first steps would be or how to get your head kind of around this stuff, your local PTAC office is there to help you. It is free. I believe it is funded by the government in some way. I know you don't pay. The other thing is if you qualify as a woman-owned business, a veteran-owned business, a minority-owned business, there might be other designations. Those are the 3 that I know about. At both your state level and at the federal level, you can apply to become, for example, in my case, a woman-owned business. And the federal government has a certain amount of funds allocated to working with women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned businesses. So I'm in the process right now of becoming a woman-owned business in the eyes of the federal government, and I hate paperwork more than just about anything. So what I've been doing is I've been spending an hour every week working on the application. I've hit a few snafus, and my latest one is that my incorporation paperwork, which was done 11 years ago, doesn't match my business address. I've moved a couple of times. I hadn't noticed that the address on the incorporation paperwork that I basically sign a renewal every year. I hadn't noticed that the address was still my first business address. So now that they don't match, the government's like freaking out about it. So, and it can take a while, even once you get all the paperwork together, for the government to actually go ahead and sort of approve your designation. But if you want to go through that process and want to work with the government, it might be worthwhile to do for you financially, even if you hate paperwork like I do. So just wanted to throw both of those things out there. I will link to some resources in the show notes I think might be helpful if you are interested in those things. But let's get back to it.
Thing. Like, I think oftentimes when people are getting started and they're trying to uncover their niche, and I'm sure you see this a lot,
Hmm.
it's that they go so far outside of themselves and they look at what
Yeah.
other people are doing and they're like, oh, I should do that because it was successful for somebody else. The
Hmm.
reality is, oftentimes it's the thing that people ask you for help with that is the gold in what you're supposed to start your business around. So
Right.
that really
I love how she's like, don't do what everyone else is doing, but buy this accelerator program I have, which is the exact same for every person who signs up.
that really is a good testament of how naturally and organically this business came to you. And obviously, you're very good at what you do and you're super
Yeah.
passionate about what you
Mhm.
do, which shows through in your results and your clients and all of those things as well.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah,
let's
it was strange. I didn't have a business model even to follow with that. I think it's more people doing similar to what I do now. Not still, they don't go as in depth, but they do the foundational things and that's it. But when I started, it wasn't that many people. It's more now, but yeah. So I
yeah,
had nothing to bounce it off of. So I had to just go off of what I knew for real.
totally. And kind of,
Yeah.
well, test, fail, learn, grow, repeat. And you
Yeah.
figured it
Yep.
out. There you
You're
go.
not
Yeah, there you go. So I want to get into some tactics that really made a
okay.
massive difference in your transition from where you were at to where you're at now, which is a really consistent, evergreen
Hmm.
business that allows you to make money when you're not working. So let's talk about the couple things I want to go over. One is the transformation of going from one-on-one to a group program and
Hmm.
solely having that because you don't work with one-on-one clients anymore, correct?
Correct. Sure don't.
Okay. I sure don't. And number two
They
is,
ask still, but no, that's a no.
of course. Number two is knowing your ideal client. I think that's
Mhm.
super important to tackle because I remember having a conversation with you and you were like, Sunny, I already know my ideal client. I'm fine.
Right, right.
And then we went through the exercise and you were like, maybe I didn't know them as well as I thought I did. And then systems and metrics to create that
Yeah.
consistency that you have now. So and also I wanted to preface this by saying as well, which I know some people here tuning in will know this, but this is all done without any paid advertising at all. This is completely
Mhm.
organic. And that's a beautiful thing because it leads to much higher profit margins for your business.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
let's tackle the transition of going from one-on-one to a group program. And I think the best place to start for this, because it's such a hurdle for so many people, is your mindset. Why do you think it was so hard for you to make that transition? And what was holding you back, do you feel like?
I think it's because we look at it, you think about it, one on one, we can charge more. That's what
Mhm.
we're
Yep.
told. We can charge more one on one. And it's like when you get into any type of coaching, and if we're looking at social media and all these different things, they say, okay, start with one on one or start with a service, one of the two. And they're like, you can charge more doing it that way. It's a much easier way to get started and things like that.
Also, it's a way for you to get experience doing what you're doing, you know what I mean? Like, it would be hard to lead a group in how to do something if you hadn't done it multiple times before, and doing it with multiple kinds of people is one way to get that done.
Really, now that I think about it, I didn't think about this, not so much because with your program and the way we transitioned from doing the ICAs to the pop, it was just as easy because we didn't have to create anything beforehand either. So, but
I don't know what ICA or POP is, so maybe they'll explain.
I mean, if we didn't have you, we wouldn't know that. So most people don't know that. So, but yeah, but that's what they said. Like, yeah, you had like start one on one.
Well, and I think one thing I wanted to touch on that too is, and if you are in that position and you're like, I'm doing one-on-one or I'm thinking one-on-one's the answer. The other thing you want to think about is this, is that when you are working with people in silos, you are really creating a limit to the amount of impact that you can create and the results that you can create. And it diminishes your growth as a business because if you don't have client results and social proof of what you're doing, the business is going to take longer to grow. And if you're working with one person at a time, think about how much longer that takes to get results through the door.
I have to show you guys something. This is my desk right now. So if you see the microphone moving or some cattails, sorry, but they're getting their pets.
And the analogy that I use is it would be like a university taking
Mhm.
one student a year. Imagine if that was the case. That would take so long to get people to their degree and the
Mhm.
impact they want to create in the world. And so I understand the mentality behind it because it's something that I did way back in the day. But if I could start my business over, which is why I created the Authority Accelerator, I would start here because it fast tracks your confidence in your business and in your program. It fast tracks your client results. And it does fast track your cash flow as well, which allows you to grow from a place of abundance. So
Place of abundance.
that was kind of
It's all about our mindset, guys. If you're not successful in life, it's all about your mindset.
your fear around it.
Mm.
What were some of the tactics that you implemented from the methodology to get you from the place of one-on-one to going into a group setting?
So what I did is I realized, like I said, one of the things was a lot of the things that I was doing in the service and one on one, it was like it was a system. It was the same
Yeah.
steps over and over every time that I took the people through the same thing. And so I realized like, okay, if I could put this, you know, on in a package in some videos or whatever, then I could get some time back, but I could also reach more people and help more people because the one-on-one is like, say you take 10 clients, and depending on how many hours you spend with them, you'll max out at 10, 15 people real quick and get burnout. And then if you're charging a certain amount, whatever it is, that's it. That's all you can make. You're capped. And so I just realized that I could put something together into a system and then service more people. And then, when I found you, and then seeing, okay, we can put them in a group, we can do these things. I don't have to launch all the time. And so it really allows me to focus on serving the clients and not even the tactic part of it, because we can talk more strategy, which is where they really need the help. The
Yes.
tactics, the steps are what they are, but strategy and things specific to the individual, because you can still do that in a group setting. And people ask me that all the time. It's like, well,
Okay, so you are giving people sort of individualized help and ideas in something like a Facebook group as part of the course. They do have some personal interaction with you. Okay, that makes sense to me. It's funny because the advice I give, I don't think is necessarily the same for everybody. I mean, there's certain things that I do that are just kind of step by step, like how do I set up a business listing in Google, or how do I set up the Meta business suite for somebody, or how do I run a set of Facebook ads to start off with, that kind of thing. But who I'd show those different steps to would depend on if they needed that thing or not. So I don't know. I think I would have a hard time turning what I do into a course. I'll be honest with you. Parts of it, yes, but the parts of it I could turn into a course are stuff that's already online anyway that I could just link to.
well, will I get your help in the group? And I'm like, yeah, everybody gets their time to shine, so you get to ask your questions and things like that, just like in your program, you know. And that's one of the things that amazed me is because I've done
I see why she displayed it like this now. The bottom part is gonna be where she shows comments of people talking about how great her program is. Got it.
I've done other programs, and I've had some where I didn't get to ask ever. Well, I asked the question, they just never got answered.
Mm.
And but one of the things in your program, and I was amazed, and it's you, it's you for real.
Me for real. This is not a hologram. It's actually
Um,
me.
you think you're getting one person and you get somebody else when you get in some of these programs, but we're able to ask you the questions, and get your take on it and strategy, because the tactics and the steps are laid out, but sometimes we have those questions specific to
Mhm.
our needs. And
And that's why when I see these people who are like, "Oh, it's an entirely self-paced program. There's no kind of community aspect to it. There's no access to me as part of it." I feel like it's it's kind of ridiculous because part of why people are taking a course is so that they can get strategy and feedback from the instructor. You know what I mean?
I
Being
think
able to that.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think for anybody watching who is in a place where they have a business and they're not consistent, they don't have evergreen, they're not able to really scale right now because they're trading their time for money. One of the best and easiest places to start, by the way, I wanted to shout out Geeta because Geeta is a part of the Authority Accelerator. So thank you, Geeta, for being.
She keeps saying evergreen. What she means by evergreen is content that works all the time. So the launch model is the opposite of that, right? It says, hey, we have this program. It's only available for 2 weeks. Like, click here to sign up. The evergreen thing is like, yep, this thing is running. You can sign up whenever. The marketing we have going to it is marketing that works all times of year. That's what she means by evergreen.
Ida for being here. One of the best places to start is exactly what Felicia just said. And this is also exactly how I started my online course business. Take note of all of the things that you repeat over and over and over again to your clients, and all of the things that are necessary to get results for your clients, because every single one of those things can be packaged into a system and a method. And this is a really morbid question, but I ask almost every single person who comes into the Authority Accelerator this question, and it's great to start thinking about it. If you were to die tomorrow, how could your business still make an impact?
Yes, because everything's a legacy, right? But yes, I have thought about what happens to my business if I die because my dad died in the middle of running a business and I saw how chaotic that was. So my goal is to not leave chaos behind if I were to die suddenly. There is a document, there is a procedure, and my goal is that there's always at least 1 month's worth of payroll in the account so that everyone I work with can execute the procedure, get paid their last month, and be done. Do I want a better plan? Absolutely. But is that better than nothing? I think so.
That's why we call it a legacy business, because God forbid if something were to happen to me, my business could still live on. My strategies, my methods could still live on without relying on me.
But Felicia just said what she found valuable about the program was that she was able to ask questions and that Sunny was the one answering them. So in reality, her business does kind of need her in it.
And that is a true business. That is something that can run without you. Something that requires your time and energy to run is a job. It's not a business. So I think if you're
I roll.
going to start somewhere, and this is really big takeaway from today's training, is start at a place where you start documenting all the things that you repeat over and over again to clients, or that you do on a consistent basis repeatedly to get results, because those are things that you can package into a curriculum that people can study on their own and implement for themselves and create long-term results and success without having to rely on you to get the results they're looking for. I love it. Miranda says, "Wow, that makes more sense." So Brenda actually just
What makes more sense? Having evergreen content makes more sense. Having a business that runs without you makes more sense. I don't know what the
asked.
are.
She said, "How did you refine your ideal client?" So I want to talk about this
That's
because
a
I
great
think this is
question.
so interesting. And this is the next thing I wanted to touch on, is that you had a business, right? You had a business prior to joining the Authority Accelerator.
Hmm.
And you had an idea of who your client was.
Right.
And we had that conversation. You were like, I know my ideal client, but I'm still going to do the work. Bless you for doing it, because it always makes a difference. Let's talk through how you refined it and how you got more specific.
So I thought I knew who my ideal client was, and I kind of did, somewhat. But to really nail it down, I think that's what made the difference and got me with that pop where I did 50,000. And
Mhm.
so, but to get there, what you have us do inside the program is our ICA interviews. And so it's not a sales conversation, but it is a conversation with what kind of people we think is our ideal client, because we invite people to have the conversation with us. And
All right. I have no idea what an ICA interview is. I just took a couple minutes and tried to find it online, and I can't seem to find anything that looks useful. So hopefully they tell us what it is.
so they self-select themselves at that point to have the conversation. So for me, they know they're interested in government contracting. So, okay, from there, asking them specific questions that you give us, which is great because most of them probably I never thought to ask, but you gave us those.
Can you give us like an example?
And then the documentation of what they're saying, how that conversation is flowing, and the keywords that they're giving us really solidify who my ideal client was. And so taking that information, it helped two things the ICA calls take that information, and then I can use it for social media posts and various things to attract my ideal client.
So we've heard about this before, right? And the idea is that you want to be talking with people who are in your target demographic and learn what their pain points are, how they talk about your product or service or whatever. So let me just use an example. Let's say that I sell stickers, right? And so I join 3 Facebook groups of people who are obsessed with stickers. Right? I read the posts, I see what do people like about the stickers. Oh, people are looking for long narrow stickers for their water bottles. People are looking for stickers that are made of vinyl. People are looking for environmental friendly stickers, whatever, right? I would read posts and I would see these phrases and I would lift them from the copy. I'd also want to look at kind of, what questions do they have? How about stickers? How do they feel about stickers? How often are they buying stickers? Do they buy stickers for other people? Like I would basically want to learn as much about them as possible so that when I was writing my social media content, if I know that a bunch of people care about environmental friendly stickers, I'm going to do a whole series of social media posts about how my stickers are environmentally friendly, that kind of thing. So I think that's what she's talking about. I do not know what ICA stands for, though. I'm guessing it's interview case assessment or ideal. This idea that, I say, hey, so and so, I want to attract more clients like you. Can I buy you lunch and can I sit down and just ask you a bunch of questions? This is not a sales thing. I just want to learn more about you, what you're looking for, what you don't like, and all of that. And so then you just ask a bunch of questions. And so if you do this with like 10 people, right? These kind of interviews, you'll have a really good list of words that they're using to talk about things, problems that they have that you could solve for them, ways they make decisions about buying products and services like what you have, and you will be able to do a really good job targeting them with marketing, having sales calls with them, and all of that kind of thing. But the idea with these interviews is it's agendaless in that you're not trying to sell them anything, you're just trying to get into their mindset and learn more about what they want.
And I have a big presence on YouTube, which that was from Sunny's course too. And so, but I can now do the videos and different things. I mean, because they're telling me exactly what they want to know, what they don't know, where they're at in the process, which made creating content and all that stuff a lot easier. But here's the kicker: so we did the ICA calls, but it also now these people, the ones that were ideal, for my program, and based on the
I think I stands for ideal in this scenario. ICA, ideal client or customer, and I don't know what the A stands for.
conversation calls with those people. Now, for me, I think I had, I did, so it's 50 ICA calls, and probably, I don't remember the number because I didn't invite everybody to the sales call because some
No.
wasn't a fit based
Yep.
on doing that call. But I had a high number.
Yep.
I did have a high number from the ICA calls that I could transition into the sales call, and so that was a game changer. And what I even realized, I said, that's probably something. It's almost like you can use it really as a marketing strategy.
100%.
Yeah. So my plan is to right every so often revisit that and do
Yes.
this 50 ice because then it kind of generates some sales calls as well,
Well, and
but
that's
more high ticket or more specific, more what's that word you use? They're more I
Targeted?
forget what you say.
what did I
Uh
say? I
Maybe
don't even know.
ideal or
They're
something.
ideal. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
More ideal. I think that's the thing. So you said so many things there that I just want to like recap and touch on because that was perfect. Is so I think the biggest mistake people make when they think about an ideal client for their business is they think about a category. So you're like, okay, well,
Mhm.
anybody who wants to start a government contracting business is my ideal client, but they're not really. And I say this often. Anybody who's in the Authority Accelerator is gonna be like, oh God, here she goes again. But what I say is what we have learned in working with thousands of people in this program to get their courses from just a hint of an idea to actually becoming this fully automated business, that your ideal client and the person that you want to serve and the most successful courses come down to 3 factors. You have to know who your one specific ideal client is and where specifically they're at on their journey where they're most likely to invest with you. And then you have to know who your one specific ideal client is and where specifically they're at on their journey where they're most likely to invest with you. And then you have to know who your one specific ideal client is and where specifically they're at on their journey where they're most likely to invest with you. because everybody has a tipping point of when they're actually ready to do the work and make a change. And you don't really
Mhm.
want to talk to people or deal with people who are not there. So, one specific ideal
Yeah, this is valid. I think it would be hard to tell where people were at without talking to them, but
client at one specific place on their journey seeking one specific transformation. And the reason those three factors
can you give us an example? Like a concrete example?
are so vitally important to creating a highly scalable and consistent online course business is because when you're trying to work with everybody, you're constantly having to customize to each
Mhm.
person at each different stage on their journey. So when you get laser focused, it makes you wildly magnetic. And when you do the work to actually talk to these people, like you said, it builds the foundation of everything you do. The reason that we put our clients through that process is because it's essentially a boot camp. So you never run out of leads ever again. You are armed with exactly what you need to always be able to build more leads, more clients, and get more people in the door so you can create an even bigger impact. And it's not requiring a funnel, it's not
Right.
requiring tech, it's not requiring anything fancy. So if things go sideways, you still know exactly how to get people in the door, which is so, so, so important as a business owner.
Can you give a more specific idea of how this works?
So you totally described it perfectly. You also mentioned one thing, which was YouTube, which you have a YouTube
Mhm.
channel, and you took a break from it, which we do recommend doing so that you can
I
get super
know.
clear on who you're trying to serve. Because on YouTube, in order to actually grow, the algorithm needs to know who are you talking to, who's your ideal client, and what do you want to be known for. So I thought this was really cool because you posted this in June and you said, I haven't posted a
Mhm.
thing on social media since
Yep.
joining the program in March, and you passed 10,000 subscribers because the content you had posted was
Mhm.
still being found in search and it was still being discovered, which is really cool
Yeah, and YouTube is like the second largest search engine after Google, right? So that's why having a presence on it if you're a business can be really helpful.
to see, and
Right.
it's continuing to grow, right?
Correct. And that was your old program, but now it's inside the Authority Accelerator. I think is
Yeah.
what phase. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I use to get there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes to refining your ideal client and even this
They're really not giving us anything, are they? They're like, you have to buy the program to learn even anything about it.
conversation, like I think there's so much focus on creating complication in your business, especially with the online space. It's like, oh, you
Mhm.
need to be doing bots, you need to be doing all of these things, you need to have messenger chat, you need to have funnels, you need to have all this fancy stuff. At the end of the day, I know this is shocking, it makes me sound old. Businesses used to be run just by building relationships.
Mhm.
So that is
Yeah, and these tools help you build the relationships. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a messenger bot. I don't think there's anything wrong if you want to use a sales funnel. She's using a sales funnel on her site. She has a free webinar training. And I'm sure after I would take that free webinar training and put in my phone number, I'm sure someone would call me. I'm sure I would start getting served up content. I'm sure I would get a series of emails kind of slowly trying to get me to buy into the accelerator. So I'm just saying, like, you clearly have some kind of quote unquote funnel, even if you're not calling it that, right?
that is the basis of how you build a long-term business. Yes, all the rest of it can come in handy, but if you don't know who you're talking to, how they want to be spoken to, how they think, and how you want to market to them, none of the other stuff's going to work. Your
Right.
emails aren't going to work, your copy's not going to work, nothing else is going to work. So it's really a fun exercise to build your entire
Right.
business.
Yeah.
And
You
I
also
think I used the three things that you said, YouTube, and then I started using Instagram because you talked about that in Authority Accelerator
yep.
and my email list. That's really it. Like
Yeah.
I may be on the other social medias, but not so much.
You just need to
Not.
know which lever. That's what I always say. I'm like,
Mhm.
we put you through a process in the very first part of the Authority Accelerator to basically understand, okay, for my specific business and how I want to operate, what are the levers I need to pull to continue to make money and to make an
Mhm.
impact? And you identify it through doing all of this testing. And so it doesn't have to be complicated. Like ours are
Right.
very, very simple. And when you know those, it becomes a repeatable process and a predictable process to know how much revenue you're going to generate on a month.
Mm.
So you mentioned something else where people are probably like, okay, I have heard of that. And some people are gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, which is the pop. And I do want to
Oh,
touch
okay.
on that. Um, but I also just wanted to say and remind everyone here. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. We have over 100 people here live, which is
Okay. So here she's resetting the room again.
Amazing, and a lot of Authority Accelerator members. So welcome, welcome. So Felicia is a member of our Authority Accelerator program. She was doing done for you one-on-one work and launches, and she wanted to figure out how to create a predictable and consistent business and turn it evergreen. And pack
No business is consistent. And you can make some content that's quote unquote evergreen, but you are going to have to revisit it because circumstances change, the market changes, and how that content works for you is going to change. Just saying.
and package her knowledge into an online course. So she's been able to do that. She's had phenomenal results. And I'm going to get into the kickoff of that in just a second here. But if you're interested in applying for the Authority Accelerator, there's a link on the screen right now. But also, Connor and Kayla are working hard in the chat right now. And so if you drop the word apply in the comments, Connor and Kayla from my team will reach out to you so they can have a conversation with you about if this is an alignment and a fit for you and how we can support you. So just drop the word apply if you want to speak with Connor or Kayla, and they'll get in touch. So let's talk about your. I think I have an image here. Let's just see. Let's see.
probably was it.
Do I have the image? Wait. Pop launch recap. Yes. So let's talk about this. So if you aren't familiar with a pop, I'm going to bring that up in a second again. The pop is a method essentially that I created in order to get our clients the 3 foundational things that you need to really kick off a business. Cash flow. So you're building your business from a place of security and safety. And you're not constantly chasing your next client and stressed out all the time. Confidence in your offer. Because raise your hand if you're terrified of selling. A lot of people are.
I
So we
used to
want
be.
it to be. Not anymore. So confidence in selling your offer and confidence in knowing your offer is really good. And then the final thing is client results. So getting those 3 things as quickly as possible. I've often mentioned this. I learned this really from Steve Jobs, who with the iPhone was like, I need to get this thing to market to figure out if it even works and if people even like it. And then I'll use the feedback to make it even better over time. And now we're on the 13th iteration of it. So your program can always get better with time, but you want to launch it fast, test it fast, and evolve with time. So the pop is the first thing you do before you turn your business evergreen. So
If you're into like innovation stuff, you might have heard of the model fail fast, fail cheap. So I think if you look into that, you'll also probably get something information wise that is similar to this.
your pop, I actually think you are the biggest pop we've seen. So $50,000 with your pop launch in 30 days, people, 30 days. So she did all the foundational and fundamental work that we talked about and identifying and refining her ideal client. Her niche is government contractor accelerator for small business owners. And she sold 13 units at a price of
Whew.
$4,000 and generated
Wow.
$50,000 in revenue and collected.
Why are we charging $4,000? Go to the local PTAC office and meet with your local SBDC if you need help with the minority owned business or the women owned business or any of those applications because they can help you with those.
Collected $34,000 in cash. So let's talk about the pop and the impact that it had on you.
I feel like I still don't understand what pop is. It could be because in another tab I was looking up how much this Authority Accelerator costs. We'll get into that in a second.
Had on you and your business.
So I think the pop revealed a lot of things, really. It has solidified that, okay, this process of one packaging it, putting it into a group program solely can work, and that I can make the income that I wanted to make. But it also gives me the ability to continue to increase my revenue because I don't have a cap on how many people I can take at a time. I don't have an end date where, okay, if you miss it, you just have to wait till 2 3 months down the road, because sometimes people aren't ready, or they just don't have the money to make the investment today, but they will come back. Let me tell you, they come back.
Yes, they do.
And so, but that's the great thing about having an evergreen where they can come in at any time, because when they come back, then they can actually join versus, oh no, you have to wait another month or two because we're not launching yet. So that was really, really great. But also, getting feedback, because the way we do the pop is live, and that's why I said the transition is really easy. It's no different than one-on-one, so it's not like you have to have a whole bunch of stuff created. And so it allows you to be able to put out the content and then get feedback every week, and then before you make it evergreen, you can make whatever changes you need to make so that it is what you want it to be, and it gets the clients the results that you want them to get. And then the pop also tells you whether it's working, because people get results, depending on your program, of course, but people get the results as you are going through it, like week from week. You can do the check in and say, what successes they've had. And I think it's a little phrase or something you also gave us to steal from you, to even pull out those
Yes.
results from them, because sometimes people are a little shy, or they just don't think to share it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I was just talking to a client last week actually who joined like a year ago, and I was like, "What happened?" And we were talking so much in the beginning, they had all this momentum, and then I messaged them. I was like, "Hey, just want to check and see how it's going." And they're like, "Oh, it's going super well. We just didn't think to update you." And I was like, "No, I
Yep.
live for this."
Yep.
Okay. Please appreciate I had to look through 10 articles before I found this LinkedIn article by Sunny that says what POP stands for. Profitable offer prototype. So you put it out there and you see how many people buy it in a period of time. And if people buy it, that tells you it's going to be successful. Profitable offer prototype. POP. Why we couldn't define it here, I'm not quite sure. I had to find out.
Yeah, so people do get shy, but when you have the process in place to really get those testimonials and feedback, it builds so much confidence for you, but it also gives you
Hmm.
great marketing material to be like, look at what
Right.
happened. Look at what my program's doing. Um, I wanted to also shout out Lakeisha, who's in the program as well. And she said, I'm launching my new pop to put new investors on
Yeah.
the path to financial freedom. So way to go.
Uh, to financial freedom. No.
She's in the Authority Accelerator as well. So the pop, it really does. It kicks things off in a big way. And for you, it kicked things off in a massive way. But the
Yes.
real gold and the thing I want to talk about next, which is the kind of like final tactical thing that I wanted to touch on, is
Hmm.
you are now totally evergreen. You are not doing launches, you are not working with one-on-one clients, and you joined
Yes, we've mentioned this several times.
in March. So this has been a pretty like significant shift and transformation in a short
Hmm.
period of time.
Hmm.
And on a monthly basis, if you feel comfortable sharing, you don't have to. How much are you generating now with your business?
Keep in mind, it said in the first 30 days in the accelerator, she made $50,000. Okay. In the first month. So I'll be curious how this is sustainable.
Sure. On a consistent basis, anywhere from 15 to 20, sometimes even more than that a month.
Which is freaking awesome.
Hmm.
And when you compare that to the launch model for you, what's the difference? Like, how does that make you feel that you're now
I'm guessing it's more money because she mentioned making six figures and $20,000 times 12 is high six figures anyway.
at
Oh,
this place where you know
I think.
predictably what you're making every month?
it's a game changer.
You can't predict what you make every month. Stop it. Even she said it could be 15, it could be 20, it could be more. There is a variation there.
I mean, shoot, we all like money. It's like, for me, it gets to a point like it's a game that I play with myself. Like, because again, the one on one, I was capped until, yeah, I was capped because, one on one, it's like, okay, we're going to work together for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. You're locked into that and that price. And so the difference with this is like, okay, last month I did this. I can say, okay, next month my goal is this, and I gauge it, how many sales calls I have, all of that. But I can always say it can go up because I'm not capped on how many people I can serve. And
Yes.
then with everything being evergreen, I mean, my biggest focus is doing my YouTube, which I have back end help with that. But the videos, and then the sales calls.
Yeah.
So I have
So you are doing one-on-one sales calls. So you are talking to people one-on-one. You're just not doing it in a consulting way.
time to do all of that, because the other thing too, if you think about it with the one-on-one, if you're maxed out there, how many, even if you could take on more people, when do you have time to talk to them to sign them up?
Right. Right. That makes total
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. I mean, it's just I think the thing I just look at it on the basic level of like time.
Hmm.
And you have a limited amount of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're doing one-on-one calls and those are kind of unpredictable and let's say that's
Hmm.
taking time.
So I thought we were going to learn some tactical things here. So far, all I've learned is concentrate only on a few platforms, YouTube being one of them. Don't work with clients one on one. Offer a profitable offer prototype to be able to test your idea fast and interview people who are your ideal customer and ask them questions so that you can learn what their pain points are, what words they're using to talk about them, and all of that. So you can create programs that they'll like, and you can easily target them with marketing. Those are the 4 things I've learned here. Like, I thought there was gonna be some tactics I could use in my business. That was promised to me at the beginning, guys.
taking 10 to 15 hours a week. And then on top of that, you're also trying to do your marketing, your sales, you're trying to get people in the door, you're doing customer service, you're doing all the other pillars of a business.
Mhm.
It leads to a certain level of like just exhaustion. Did you ever feel burnt
You can hire someone to help with your marketing, your customer service, and all of that, while you still work with clients one-on-one. There's other ways to do this is what I guess what I'm saying.
out when you were working in that other sort
Oh
of
yeah,
model? Yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
it gets
If you're doing everything yourself, you're gonna get burned out. I don't even if you're running a quote unquote evergreen business with consistent income, which I honestly don't think exists based on my experience running businesses and working with people who run businesses. But anyway,
I don't know what's the feeling, but when you're doing all those things and you're maxed out with your one-on-one and you want to make more, but you can't because you
Yeah.
just don't have capacity. It's only so many hours in a day.
hire someone to help. And depending on how much you bill out an hour, if you can hire someone that costs less than you can bill out an hour, if they can do some of the customer service, the marketing, the sort of checking your email, scheduling stuff, whatever it is that's taking up your time to free you up to see more clients, you know?
In a day. And I mean, you hear things where, some people say, oh, you should get up real early and work all day and 40, 50, all these hours. Yeah, who wants to do that? I mean, we do what we have to do,
Of course,
but who
and it
wants
ebbs and
to?
flows. Yeah, if you want
Right.
to, that's the thing, right?
She just said a second ago it was consistent. Now she says it ebbs and flows. So what is it?
And and I think a big part of like what makes the community inside of the Authority Accelerator really magical is everyone has a different definition of success. For
Hmm.
some people, it's just making $5,000 a month. For some
Yes.
people, we have clients who are all the way up to $250,000 a month,
Yes, because we can all just decide our income. Like, that's what we do. We just sit around and say, "How much money do I feel like making?"
Hmm.
$300,000 a month, which is who I spoke to actually last month. If you want to check it out on
Right.
my Facebook page, that's Brandon. But everyone has a different level of or definition of success. And for me, it's always been peace. I just
Hmm.
want to feel at peace and I want to have space and I want to have time with the things and the people that matter most to
Mhm.
me. And
Right.
I'm so happy that you're now at a place that you've been able to achieve that. How important were the systems, and I know this freaks people out, but systems and the numbers and metrics that we lay out in the program for you to create consistency in your business?
Let's see if they give any examples of metrics that we're supposed to be tracking.
Oh, very important. I mean, I know numbers are important, so I always say your numbers,
Yeah.
like how much are you making, right? But how are you making that money is really the question because it entails what's working and what's not working.
Mhm.
And so one of the things I really liked in the program is the sales tracker that you give us because it has the formulas in there and everything. So it's kind of like a plug and play. We just have to put in the information and it tells us how many people you need to talk to get to your income goal, because it tells you as long as you're doing the work and putting the information in there, which isn't hard, it tells you your conversion rates and things like that. So that's a real game changer. That one piece there for sure was really really helpful.
Yeah, and I think that's the big key here is that business shouldn't be, it is of course at times, but it shouldn't be emotional. When you know your
Hmm.
numbers, it allows you to stay out of the emotion of the highs and the lows and the roller coaster, and it allows you to predict and project your future and how
Right.
much money you want to make on a monthly basis. And the cool thing for you now is like you're now doing, 15 to 20K a month. You could do more if you wanted to. Like you now know exactly
Right.
what you need to do on a monthly basis if you want to grow that. And
Exactly.
having that is powerful because it keeps you in the CEO being at the whim of what's happening around you or what's happening externally. How
So she made $50,000 the first month, right? And you would think that if she wanted to keep making $50,000, she could keep doing what she did in the first month. So why is she currently capped out at 15 or $20,000 a month, right?
how
Right.
important has that been for you and your peace of mind?
Oh, very, very important because the numbers don't lie. Like
Yeah.
numbers don't lie. I don't care how you slice it. And so knowing that I know minimum I'll make this every month, like clockwork. And that's like the bare minimum work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if you amp it up and
I'm really curious how periods like a period we're in right now, which is like sort of a recession, how that affects their sales. I know they'll never tell us, but I'm curious, like, how many people are lining up to spend $4,000 in an online course? I mean, really?
And amping it up still doesn't mean that I'm working, 15 hours a day. That's not what I mean at all.
Yeah.
But just, amping it up, maybe it's an extra webinar a month and that only takes an hour.
Yeah.
So that's one another thing, like, the webinar formula that you give us, what to put into the webinar and things like that works. That's a game changer because whenever I go live or I go on YouTube or do a webinar, I'm making money.
Absolutely.
Like it's a given.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
going to
given.
make
So that's a
money.
little
Yeah.
bonus.
But are you making money on the webinar, or you mean you're going online reminding people you exist and you're selling at least one online course for $4,000, right? That's what I'm wondering here. They're not really saying it, but people are not paying to attend the webinar. They're paying for something you're upselling them during the webinar.
Bonus on top of the evergreen
Yeah.
machine that's working in the background. And we
Mhm.
talk about that, right? Is like any business really requires what we call on demand and evergreen attraction method. So, evergreen means that you are literally bringing in clients on autopilot. As Felicia mentioned, when you're sleeping, when you're not working, clients are rolling in. Those little payment notifications are coming up at all times. But then
Mhm.
there's on demand. So like let's say you need to make a little push and you want to go a little harder one month. There's also all of these on demand methods that you can use to immediately get the satisfaction and gratification of getting more people in the door. So it's really an ebb and flow and a combination of both, but the security of having something that's running consistently that you can rely on makes your life a lot easier when you are running a business. And I think my one of my last questions for you is you've touched on the lifestyle piece of it, but when you think about your lifestyle now versus
God. All right. We get to hear live. All right. 3 more minutes. I'm gonna listen to it, but I have a feeling this could be a bunch of lifestyle claims, and if it is, I'll just cut it off maybe.
prior to March when you enrolled, how has it changed? How has it shifted for you?
Oh, I have a lot more time for sure. A lot more free time just to, as they say, stop and smell the roses. But really, I like the peace, of knowing that I have stability in my business and the financial stability. So, not having to worry about income. Can I pay my bills? Things like that. But just for me, it's always been about freedom, flexibility, and financial peace, and then just
Yeah.
peace in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. Same here. I love it. Anything that you want to share before we kind of wrap up? And if there's any questions, I'm going to make sure that we tackle those as well. But
Okay.
anything you want to share before we wrap up?
No, just that anyone that's watching, if you're thinking about, joining the accelerator, because I was thinking and thinking, and the total transparency, I think I didn't sign up initially immediately. And hindsight, you'd be like, oh, I wish I had it because then I could have been a whole lot further and things like that. Because I was like, well, I already know this, I know that, this, and that, and I'm doing this.
So you made the most amount of money you've ever made in the first month. You made $50,000 and now you're making $15,000 to $20,000. So if you're looking at it from a financial standpoint, it doesn't seem like you're quote unquote progressing. It seems like you're kind of maintaining the level that you're at now. So I don't know, but
Doing this, and I'm like, I really need that. But it was a game changer. And looking at it too, looking at you, Sonny, and your program, and it was kind of like, how do I want my business to be? And so, with that being said, joining want the evergreen model, things like that, which is what you have. Then who better to teach it to you? Because that's
Thank
what they're
you.
doing.
Thank you. That's so nice. And I will say, like, if you're on the fence, if you're sitting there thinking about it, you joined in March. Like things have changed
Hmm.
pretty drastically for you for the better in a very short period of time. And why delay?
Right.
What's holding you back? And I would really beg that question of anybody sitting here thinking this is something you want to do. We're starting a new year.
Hmm.
This is the time to do it. This is the time to tackle it. So, like I said, you can apply at the link right there, sunnylenarduzzi.com/apply. And you can also just put the word apply into the comments, and Connor and Kayla will get in touch with you from my team to see if this is a fit. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to you, Felicia, for your time and also just for
Sure.
being such a like North Star inside the community and the program. I know you've really
all right. I cut it off because it was just a bunch of sign up for the program stuff. So I just spent a lot of time like looking around the internet trying to figure out how much this thing costs, this Authority Accelerator. And I found a good link. Scamrisk.com reviewed it. They seem to be the most kind of legitimate looking thing that I found. And I will link it in the show notes if you want to read further into depth. But they pulled this Reddit quote that I thought might be relevant. And it does mention how much the thing costs. So I watched a bunch of her vids, got on the mastermind class. So that's that page that we saw at the beginning of this video that we went over, where you join and you get the free class. And then I booked for a seemingly exclusive discovery call for a uniquely selected individuals who applied. At the end of the call, the price was quoted as $6,000. And I thought that was just outlandish. So I'm possibly considering joining the $30 a month membership program that includes group sessions with creators with proven results and a great support system with other group members. Ultimately, no one needs to pay such prices because the best info is already out there for free. It just needs to be organized sequentially. And that's what inexpensive membership programs do, plus community. It's good to see the sales tactics used to drive you down the funnel so that from the moment you're entering the funnel, you're aware of what's down the line, a sale. But in the course of all of that, you don't get brainwashed and you keep your goals in full view. So this Authority Accelerator is $6,000, and the article I'm linking to looks like it was updated in September of 2023, so that's probably pretty accurate. And basically the TLDR of the article is that, can this help you set up an online course? Yes. Is it gonna make you as much money, or is it as easy as Sunny makes it out to be? No. So reviews seem to be mixed, and it seemed like the sort of summary of this particular program seems to be could be helpful, kind of expensive, not gonna be as easy as you think, and we probably already knew that, right? A little note about the scamrisk.com link that I'm sharing is that there is some information below the article about digital leasing. I think you could just ignore that and just read the Sunny review part. No need to enter in another scheme that is different than the scheme that they're reviewing. As Felicia, who emailed us, said, magic beans were promised. And to be honest, I don't know if you planted them, if they would even grow anything, or if they would grow to the big thing that she says they're going to. If you want to learn how to make an online course, I have some resources in some of the other videos where I've reviewed people like Bethany Beal, who did a whole course about creating online courses. But I think a good place to start, besides YouTube video playlists, is you could check out any of the online course platforms like Teachable or Thinkific or whatever, and they will have a step by step how to create an online course on their platform and give you some tips and tricks about how to make nice videos, how to make nice supplementary materials, how to run your Facebook or other social media group if you're going to include that with your course and that kind of thing. So I would stick with that if it was me. So thanks so much for watching. If you have a guru you want me to react to, you can leave it as a comment below this video, or if you're more shy, you can use the contact form of our website. That's how the idea for this video came in. And if you want to lightly keep in touch, a good way to do that is to join our monthly email and newsletter. It comes out once a month. And if you go to breakingeveninc.com/newsletter, you'll be able to see some past issues to see if it's your kind of thing before you fill out the sign up form. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting. If you look at the Nicole Reacts playlist and you see a video that you think somebody would get a kick out of in your life, if you could share it with them, that would be great. This channel is really hard to categorize because it's not just a small business channel, it's not just a commentary channel. So finding people who will like this content can be a little bit difficult. But if you know somebody who you think would, that would be a great way for the channel to grow, and I would really appreciate it. Thanks again so much, and remember that these gurus will just keep on coming, but the good news is you have a friend, and that's me in the marketing business who is gonna call them on all their bullshit. Take care.